Man is the measure of all things, and the Federation of Soul measure up as the best all-around faction in Twilight Imperium 4th Edition. Notice I said all-around faction. There is no one true best faction in TI4, because you have too many confounding variables. Every TI4 board that gets built has its own best faction. Heck, every table has its own best faction. Every group of players. But I would describe the human faction, the Federation of Soul, as the most consistent, generally strong, and well-rounded faction in the game. I won't go as far as to call them the best faction because I believe there is no best faction, as I elucidated earlier. But I digress. Here is the definitive guide to playing and winning as the Federation of Soul. First, let's look at their faction abilities. Number 1, Orbital Drop. Action. Spend 1 token from your strategy pool to place 2 infantry from your reinforcements on 1 planet you control. Number 2, Versatile. When you gain command tokens during the status phase, gain 1 additional command token. Versatile is an apt description of how the faction works in general. Their Orbital Drop works to deploy infantry rapidly on any planet you control. Best of all, it doesn't force you to lock the system down by requiring you to place down a tactic token or strategy token. Versatile is just pure money, an extra command token for every round in the entire game. Soul can be practically swimming in command tokens with a few savvy moves. How good are the humans' leaders? First, we have their agent, Everlyn DeLewis, unlocked from the start, of course, whose ability reads, at the start of a ground combat, you may exhaust this card to choose 1 ground force in the active system. That ground force rolls 1 additional die during that combat round. Soul are an infantry faction, among other things. This gives them an edge in ground combat. Their mech and upgraded infantry hits on 6, so an extra 6 can make a big difference. On to their commander, Claire Gibson, unlocked by controlling planets that have a combined total of at least 12 resources. At the start of a ground combat on a planet you control, you may place 1 infantry from your reinforcements on that planet. Yet another way for Soul to put infantry on the board. It's a better version of the Deactive Animators tech, although they do make for a sweet combo, getting infantry before and after combat on a planet. That being said, Soul already have ways and means of getting lots of infantry where they want them, so this commander can be thought of as a nice consistent little bonus. Now their hero, Jace X, 4th Air Legion, unlocked when you have 3 scored objectives. Helios Command Array. Action. Remove each of your command tokens from the game board and return them to your reinforcements. Then purge this card. So, warfare on steroids. Perfect for a late game winning stroke. Stack tactic tokens and wait until the other players run out and pass. Then pop this hero and have your way with the board. This is a high A tier hero. I wouldn't rank it as an S tier because it falls short of being game shattering like the Winu's hero, for example. Soul's mech begs to be deployed. ZS Thunderbolt M2 reads, deploy. After you use your Orbital Drop faction ability, you may spend 3 resources to place 1 mech on that planet. So for 3 resources, you can put down your mech alongside 2 infantry from your Orbital Drop ability. Soul are extremely dexterous, and their mech demonstrates this. Being able to plop down a mech and 2 infantry, theoretically multiple times per turn without restricting their movement or the movement of other ships in the system, has enormous potential for scoring victory points, securing valuable planets such as Mechatol, and sniping lightly guarded planets from your opponents. Soul's faction text couldn't possibly be any more appropriate for their faction. Let's keep in mind they start with a green and a blue tech. They add their Spec Ops 1, which is a unique infantry that hits on 7 instead of 8. It is upgraded to Spec Ops 2, which hits on 6 and gains the following ability. After this unit is destroyed, roll 1 die. If the result is 5 or greater, place the unit on this card. At the start of your next turn, place each unit that is on this card on a planet you control in your home system. Considering how cheap and easy to get infantry are for Soul, and just all around, this is a very powerful unit. Each infantry hits with the power of a mech. It is truly a sight to behold, and a 50% chance they survive after getting killed in combat pushes them over the edge. Researching this is a no-brainer for Soul. Their next faction tech is Advanced Carrier 1, which is their unique carrier that has a boosted capacity of 6 instead of 4. It upgrades to the formidable Advanced Carrier 2 with 2 blue prereqs. It gets a massive 8 capacity, 2 movement, and the sustained damage ability. A carrier with 8 capacity and sustained damage. Hello, fighter swarms and overwhelming ground forces. You can plant 8 ground forces on a planet, and your opponents can have a grand time trying in vain trying to get you the hell out of there. You may even force your opponents to go down the X-89 bacterial weapon tech path, which means they'll have to sacrifice more significant useful techs. Do you even need me to tell you to research both of these ASAP? Let's move on. Sol's flagship is the Capacity King. Genesis costs 8, hits on 5 times 2, has a movement value of 1, and a capacity of 12. Yes, you heard that correctly, 12. Its abilities are sustain damage, and at the end of the status phase, place 1 infantry from your reinforcements in this system's space area. The only bad thing about this is that it's so easy to forget. I always forget that. Is it just me? That aside, this is one of the best flagships in the game. HP wins battles. Rolling lots of dice wins battles. Fighters win battles. This flagship is everything you want. 12 capacity while still being punchy, hitting on 5 times 2. It synergizes perfectly with your carriers. It breeds free infantry. This ship and 2 Advanced Carrier 2s have 28 capacity between the 3 of them. Just watch out for that Gravitron laser system, and you're in the money. Now, I'll quickly go over their faction promissory note military support. It reads, at the start of the Sol player's turn, remove 1 token from the Sol player's strategy pool, if able, and return it to their reinforcements. Then you may place 2 infantry from your reinforcements on any planet you control. Then, return this card to the Sol player. So, your opponent gets to use your strategy token to use orbital drop themselves. Any faction prom note that screws over the player handing it out is one that I will hardly ever hand out. Nobody is going to need 2 infantry bad enough to make you a sweetheart deal for this. But when the occasion arises, it's not the end of the world to give it out. Let's talk for a minute about Sol's start. They have one 4-2 starting planet Jord, which alludes to our home planet Earth. They have a nice 4 resources for that high production cap. Their starting fleet features 2 advanced carriers, 1 destroyer, 3 fighters, 5 infantry, and 1 space stock. 2 carrier starting fleets are the best because you can take as many planets as possible on your first turn. Your advanced carriers give you 6 capacity each, enough to carry all your starting fighters and infantry. Carriers and infantry are your faction's unique units, and you start with both of them. To go along with this, you have 2 starting techs, a green neural motivator and a blue anti-mass deflectors. Drawing an extra action card is nice, and the freedom to expand past asteroid fields is useful at times. But the real reason these techs are so perfect is the fact that you are 1 prereq away from both of their hyper-valuable faction techs. Contrast this with, say, the Lazak's Mindnet, who start with a red and a green, but their faction techs require exclusively blues and yellows. There's a reason I use the term synergy so much. All of the components of a faction's kit being synergized optimally with one another is what makes a faction strong. Just having strong infantry wouldn't be enough. I'm of the opinion that Advanced Carrier 2 is the closest thing to a broken unit in TI4. Not even in terms of just winning combat, but also scoring VPs. Yeah, it rolls 9s, but if you simulate a battle between 3 fighters and 1 dreadnought, the 3 fighters actually win most of the time. Fighters are by far the best unit you can build, taking into account how inexpensive they are. And guess which unit upgrade you can research immediately because it has a green and blue prereq? Fighter 2. Sol isn't just an infantry faction. They're a fighter faction too. I don't care what anyone says. The 12 capacity flagship speaks for itself. Let's analyze Sol's first round. General strategy and objectives. Taking Warfare turn 1 is an easy choice if you're able to get the card. Leadership and tech are also great choices. A turn 1 Mechatol Rex play is possible for Sol. Mechatol 6 influence, in addition to influence you have from other various planets, will make you a command token generating machine. Use leadership's primary or secondary ability and orbital drop to lock down planets, especially Mechatol. Soul are best played as an expansionist faction. Speed is what you need, so expand early and expand fast. Your playstyle is straightforward. Soul are good at everything you want to be good at to win TI4. I'm going to skip the easily scored objectives part of this video because it would be faster to list the objectives that aren't easily scored. I, without a doubt, consider Soul a Mechatol Rex faction, and one of the best ones. Your flagship and carrier capacity and your orbital drop ability will make it nigh impossible for your enemies to pry Mechatol from your cold, dead human hands. You want to build up such numerous ground forces that other players will be dissuaded from even trying to take the planet. All great battles are won without fighting. Soul's tech path is predictable, but I'll lay it out for you anyway. Gravity Drive, Carrier 2, Deactive Animators, Spec Ops 2, Fighter 2, Fleet Logistics, then Lightwave Deflectors if possible. Gravity Drive and Carrier 2 have the same purpose, giving you early game mobility for that early Mechatol Rex play. Deactive Animators is often overlooked, but I like the idea of further establishing utter dominance on the ground, which this tech does along with their agent and commander. Spec Ops 2 and Fighter 2 will give you an advantage both in space and on land. Fleet Logistics allows you to fully actualize the usefulness of your command token advantage. Soul's tech path is already laid out for you when you start the game, making them a perfect beginner faction. Overall, the Federation of Soul are a helpful learning tool for beginners and a deadly force in the hands of an experienced player. I personally love them and can't get enough of their Starship Troopers mobile infantry aesthetic. But hey, I'm also the guy who always picks humans among the menagerie of bizarre alien races in sci-fi games like this. So maybe I'm a little bit biased. Regardless, thank you so much for watching, I genuinely appreciate it. I have more videos orbital dropping soon, so please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.